ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 present The Drive.
It is Tuesday, September 23rd. Your drive begins now on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. Our text line this hour brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop. 304-396-TALK. That is 304-396-8255. We're going to hear in just a few minutes some comments from Marshall head football coach Tony Gibson as the Herd continuing to get set for this week's opponent, Louisiana. Herd will travel down to the scene of the crime. Marshall took care of business last year, won the conference championship first time for the Thundering Herd in the Sun Belt. And so here's the thing. Both teams are completely different, right? We agree that most of the people that were involved in that game last year are gone. Both sides, a lot of defections, moving on in the transfer portal. But the fans remember, and of course I'm sure that there are some that were still on the sidelines for both schools. It should be a fun one. I'm looking forward to it. It is conference play, so that's what's most important here right now. So we'll hear Coach Gibson's comments in just a few minutes on, at least let's wrap up Middle Tennessee. Let's get that wrapped up so we can fully look ahead to Louisiana. And, of course, that's going to be a 5 o'clock airtime here on Saturday. I'm going to be down at Giovanni's 20th Street. Hope you can join me for another edition of College Football Today. And so we'll preview the matchup, broadcast live, and, of course, 20th Street's probably where you want to be for your game time dinner. Or, hey, you can get your early pizza. They've got a great special. So we'll tell you more about that on Saturday when we get there. But it's pretty cool what they give you. They got like a pick 2, a pick 4 special, and you can get a 16-inch and I believe a 19-inch, and you can pick 2 or 4 sides with that. So pretty good deal. We'll tell you more about it. Of course, remind you on Saturday it's the place to be for your game day. For those of you not making the trip, and of course, if you can't go, we got you covered right here on ESPN 94.1. and AM 930. We've got a lot of action to start looking forward to as we get close to the end of the week. And, of course, starting up with high school football, Spring Valley taking on St. Albans Friday night. That's going to be right here. Cabell Midland will play host to Hurricane as well. And, of course, we're going to have Greenup County at Ashland. All those stations across our Kindred Communications family of radio stations. So I'm looking forward to getting just another week in. We're finally at that point where baseball is about to go postseason, and that's always fun. We also have high school football getting I'm going to say almost halfway there. College football's just ramping up. The NFL starting to really get going. Hopefully the Bengals can join us in week 4, and they can start getting going again as they've got Denver coming up. And that's actually going to be a Monday night football game, so we'll have that one for you as well. But I'm looking forward to a lot of action. And we'll hear from Coach Gibson in just a few minutes, but I don't want to forget, we want to hear from you. Our text line this hour, it is brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop. It's 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. 8255. That's our number to be a part of today's show here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Guess what? We've got texts to get to. We're going to hear from Coach Gibson in just a few minutes, as well as we got a comment or two. I think we've got Jalen Slappy, and we also have Cam Smith. We've got a couple of their comments from earlier as well. So we'll get things started with our text line in just a few minutes. And again, we've got text coming in now. Texter wrote in, Paul, I was most happy not just for the win, but a decisive win at MTSU. I know the Herd won once there, but I don't remember the margin. Hopefully the curse of playing there has been broken. I think the curse has been broken. Coach Gibson went in there and sort of exorcised those demons. And honestly, I think this team realizes that it's a new ball game. None of that stuff really matters because you don't have that much carryover from the previous year. Now, you might have some guys carry over, but this is a new team. Even though the school, Marshall, carries the title of defending Sun Belt champions. The Sun Belt champions are gone. Those players have dispersed, and that team doesn't exist anymore. This team exists, and it has the target on its back. But I think that's a good sign. You go into Middle Tennessee and you win, something you haven't been able to do. That's, to me, that means a little bit more than you think. Also, Texter said, Paul, I like this. It makes it easier to say. Carlos Del Rio Wilson. But CDRW being named Offensive Player of the Week was well-deserved. It was one of the best performances by a Herd quarterback in the last several years. Coach Gibson has to be somewhat happy about winning while the D stunk it up. Plenty of things to correct on tape. He's going to talk about that. We asked him about defense, offense, all of that. So we're going to hear that in just a few minutes as well. So I do want to, though, before we get into the break, yesterday, we found out that Coach Clark, Sean Clark, passed away, West Virginia boy, played at Appalachian State, coached at Appalachian State, and he passed away 50 years old. And a lot of people are probably still shocked by that, and he's going to be missed by a lot of people. And Coach Gibson talked about that earlier as well. He mentioned him yesterday during his comments to the Sun Belt presser media, but he mentioned it again today, and I thought that was worth repeating. Here's Coach Gibson talking about his friend Sean Clark.
Our thoughts and prayers go out to the Clark family. Sean was a great friend, great West Virginian. I had a personal relationship with Sean. He actually hired my daughter in the recruiting side of it. Didn't work out, but offered her the job. So, we go way back, and we lost a good one over the weekend. So, just our thoughts and prayers are with the Clark family, and, it's a shame, way too young. And, this one's going to hurt for a while for a lot of people.
Yeah, I agree. And we appreciate Coach's comments. 50 years old. I'm 54, so I get it. Yeah, I don't think that I'm a spring chicken, but I don't think I'm old. But 54, I'm a few years older than Coach Clark, and he was 50. So, yeah, that kind of makes you pause just for a second as well. So our thoughts and condolences to the Clark family. We'll get your text in just a few minutes, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. We have got more coming up from Coach Gibson when we continue, and we're going to hear from you on today's edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Get organized with new Dakota Closets storage solutions at Menards. Dakota Closets are versatile and can be installed in any room, from home offices and laundry rooms to walk-in or reach-in closets and so much more. Use the You Create Closet Planner available in-store or online to design a closet system that maximizes your space and matches your style. Plus, check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for all the great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
Earn more with 4 at the best community bank in the Kanawha Valley, Poca Valley Bank. Poca Valley Bank is now offering a certificate of deposit special, 10-month APY, annual percentage yield 4%. Take advantage of this great rate to grow your savings. For more information, stop by one of the 8 Poca Valley Bank locations today. Poca Valley Bank, where relationships matter.
Certain terms and conditions apply. Rates based on minimum annual percentage yield. Subject to change without notice. Minimum deposit required of $10,000 of new money not currently on deposit with Poca Valley Bank to receive APY. Member FDIC.
You've cut back on everything and you're still coming up short at the end of the month. Give your local State Farm agent a call for a free discount double check. They'll show you how something as simple as combining car and home policies can save you hundreds of dollars a year. Being there to help keep more of your money is why your local State Farm agent is here. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
In Huntington, Ray Crabtree, 304-736-8181. In Milton, Russ McRae, 304-743-9318. And in Lavallette, Jason Elkins, 304-529-7555.
Hey Tri-State, Frank's Place is where friends hang out with friends. Stop on by for happy hour from 4 to 6 p.m. and a lot of daily specials. It's that time of year for March basketball. Frank's has you covered from the Sun Belt to the SEC, NBA to the MLB. First responders, stop by Frank's Place and check out the specials they have for you. Frank's Place, located at the River Place Plaza, next to Fratelli's. Check them out on Facebook for weekly updates and specials. Frank's Place, your home away from home.
I'm Nori, and when I was young, my mom opened our home to someone who needed a secure and safe place. She taught him what it was like to have someone care about you, having dinner at home or going out to eat together.
In West Virginia, families open their homes every year to adult family care.
Some folks need a little extra help, but everybody deserves a family.
Call the Department of Human Services and ask to speak to an adult family care home finder at 304-269-6820. Sponsored by the West Virginia Department of Human Services, the West Virginia Broadcasters Association, and this station. This project is supported by the Administration for Community Living, ACL, of the United States U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, HHS, as part of a financial assistance award totaling $1,227,345, with 100% funded by ACL HHS. The contents are those of the authors and do not necessarily represent the official views of, nor an endorsement by ACL HHS or the U.S. government.
This November 4th, voters will be asked to approve a levy for the Lawrence County Developmental Disabilities. The agency is asking for additional funding to support residents with developmental disabilities. For more information, visit lawrencedd.org, paid for by Lawrence County Developmental Disabilities.
Hi, this is Dave Wilson, host of Metro News Talkline, and you're listening to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
We continue on with today's edition of The Drive. Paul Swann, your host, here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Our text line this hour brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop at 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. We've got comments from Marshall head football coach Tony Gibson coming up in just a few moments. We got some sad news today. It's been really sad as of late. And I've learned as we get older, these things are going to become more of an occurrence. But unfortunately for Cincinnati Bengals fans, Rudy Johnson passed away. The Bengals released a statement on social media, said that Rudy was a fine person and an excellent running back for us. This was a statement released from Mike Brown, president of the Bengals. The statement also reads, he was dependable and productive as a player and very popular among his teammates. Everyone liked him, and we saw him as a dear friend. We are deeply saddened by his passing. So Rudy Johnson passing away. He was born in 1979, and he passed away this year. So very sad. It's been somber as of late in the sports world, at least for some of us here locally. All right, let's get back to the show. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. That's our text line to be a part of today's edition of The Drive here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Coach Clark. We heard Coach Gibson's comments about him. And he's a West Virginia guy. So you know that there's always going to be that connection, it's that brotherhood, that fraternity. And we were all saddened by his passing. And I think I was talking with someone earlier today, just in passing. Yeah, the guy loved Appalachian State. And he also had a tremendous record. And you look at his win-loss record, and they let him go at Appalachian State, and you think to yourselves, really, that wasn't good enough? I mean, what do you got to do to keep your job these days? You got to win the conference championship every year? I mean, let's be honest. Unrealistic expectations. You always want to win the championship, obviously, but if you're contending, I think that's a good sign if you're contending every single year. And I know if you don't win, I mean, we're talking about a coach that maybe won maybe 15, 20% of his games. Yeah, I think you got an argument here. But that was something that struck me as we were talking about Coach Clark just amongst ourselves earlier today. And, I think, it's something that you think about people who could go on to be at different jobs, and you find a place that you really like, and you find a place that it fits for you, and you can go elsewhere and make more money. But I don't think Coach Clark was that kind of guy. He wanted to coach football at Appalachian State, and unfortunately, it did not end well for him there. And now, as we remember his passing, I just scratched my head. Hey, why did App State do that? He was a guy. I mean, same thing. I mean, the result ultimately worked out for Marshall with Coach Huff bringing a championship to Huntington, the Sun Belt. But, I still sometimes think, hey, you know what? Doc Holliday was winning. And he was somebody that you knew that Marshall, for the most part, would have more good years than bad years. And maybe the timing was probably for the best, because I don't know how Doc Holliday would operate in this transfer portal world. I don't know how he's handling NIL, how he's working in this type of world. So, and I say that in retrospect because a guy like Coach Gibson, he seems to be operating well. He's getting it. First time as a head coach. Before that, Coach Huff, known as a recruiter, operating well in that space. So, I don't know. Maybe Coach Clark was not the kind of guy that could operate well in that new space. So I think about these things as we remember him, but he was a hell of a coach. Did a great job at Appalachian State. All right, let's get to Coach Gibson and his comments from earlier today. What do you think of the offense and how it performed at Middle Tennessee? I mean, he had to have some positive feelings about that. I think he did.
Offensively, I thought that we looked really good. I thought we ran the ball well. We threw the ball well. Carlos was in full control. I thought Floyd Lacey was the best player on the field and, made some big-time plays, big-time catches, runs. So very, very pleased with the offensive side. The one that I'm not pleased with was the play call on the reverse. So if we see another reverse again, you may need to check the tent because I'm probably going to be in it.
That's not good, Coach. Let's not put you in the tent. So had some good things to say. DeMarcus Lacey, by the way, he's called Floyd, for those of you that maybe didn't catch that yesterday or haven't caught on to that yet. So Floyd Lacey is DeMarcus Lacey. Now, the defense. Yesterday during his comments to the Sun Belt media, he said that for 3 quarters it was gross. What do you think today? Did he have a better evaluation of what that defense did for Marshall? He didn't say gross, but I think you get his feeling that he was not happy whatsoever. That fourth quarter saved the day for the defense as far as the grades are concerned. But he was very pleased, at least that fourth quarter efforted, and finally seeing what he's been looking for.
Defensively, not pleased at all. It was embarrassing. Didn't tackle well. Played scared. And that's disappointing from the effort that we came off of the week before. So we'll get that fixed. We got kids that care, it matters to them, and they're going to get better, and we're going to stay on them to get better. So and we take that that's a result of coaching, not putting any blame on our players. That's 100% on us as coaches when we tackle like that, and it won't happen again. As long as we have anything to say about it, we're going to get that right.
Well, they got it right in the fourth quarter. Let's go ahead and call it what it is. They finished strong. The team shut down Middle Tennessee and put them away. That's what you wanted to see. You want to see the team put a team like Middle Tennessee away early, but that's not going to be reality for the most time. Not going to happen. But in the fourth quarter, you try to put them away. That's where your conditioning comes in, right? At least that's what they say. Better conditioned team. Play calling, that's on coaches. Tackling, they're saying, hey, look, we didn't coach them up right. And that's at least refreshing to hear the coach say, hey, that's on us. No implications of the players just not doing what we're telling them to do. You didn't get any of that from Coach Gibson. But there were some mistakes. And defensive back Cam Smith talked about how they're going to go about correcting some of those mistakes.
So it's easy. Well, it's easy, but it's not easy because, like, it's because we're not playing the same team again, obviously. But it's a copycat league, so like if we see it again, of course we know how to play it now. And yeah, we did struggle a little bit, like with some stuff. Like we had bad misfits and not on the same page, and like it showed just giving up explosive plays. But like you take them 4 or 5 plays away, and like it was different. It would have been a different score,
So you've seen it now. You've been through it. You can see it again real soon and understand what it is. So Cam Smith says, look, we can fix it. Coach Gibson, hey, we're going to coach him up better. We're going to fix that. But we go back to what I think is the most important thing here, and it's the finish. And that's one thing that Coach has to be happy about, right, Coach? Are you happy?
What I was pleased with is how they finished the game, though. 12 plays in the fourth quarter, 25 yards, a couple big stops. So they finished the right way. I thought our team finished well with all the stuff that we went through. I mean, I think we were at that stadium for 9 hours. So we ate a lot of peanut butter and jelly and Rice Krispie treats and crackers. So, shout out to our nutrition staff, our strength staff for being prepared.
Has anyone done the math on how many jars of peanut butter and jelly that the Marshall football team would go through waiting to go play? I mean, what are we looking at here? 50 jars? What are we looking at? Is that too much? 25? I mean, how many P&J sandwiches are you going to be able to make here? What do you do? And of course, hopefully they brought some Heinder's bread with them. No, he's joked about that. Hey, look, we had crackers, we had cheese, we had peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. But that's a situation where you better be prepared for anything. And you go down to Middle Tennessee, already a hostile environment. And I mean hostile by the sense that it has some sort of mojo over the herd, some vibe that Marshall just couldn't shake. And you go in there, you start out strong, and then the weather hits, and you have that delay. And that's got to make you mad, right? You're starting off strong, you're ready to go, and then you got to wait not just 30 minutes, you got to wait more than that. You got to wait over 2 hours before you get into game mode again. And then, of course, you fall behind, and finally you come back and you shut down Middle Tennessee, and you get that win. And I think that's the most important thing that needs to be talked about is the finish, and Jalen Slappy shared his thoughts on what that was like, that finish for this Thundering Herd.
We were all kind of mad about the rain delay. We didn't think it was going to be that long, honestly. We thought it was going to be the first 30 minutes and it was going to be right out. But we started a little slow coming out, scored a little bit. Third quarter was really slow. That's why in the fourth quarter, really emphasis on finishing. Like, forget the rain delay. Everybody's legs was, like, kind of tired, really. It was so late. We was there for 9 hours. So I'm just proud of the guys that we finished the fourth quarter and we put it on the offensive back no matter what. And the defense stepped up big in the fourth quarter. So it means a lot.
Yeah, I'd be mad too. You go out there, you start to work, you put the score early on, Middle Tennessee, you're feeling good about yourself, and then lightning, and you got the delay. And you got to wait, and you got to wait some more, and you got to wait some more. And he's probably not a big peanut butter and jelly guy. Who knows? I wasn't going to ask him that, but I'm pretty much guessing he might be a crackers guy. He might be a Rice Krispie treats guy. I don't know. But you got to wait for that, and you got to hope that you can come back out with that same energy. And so Coach talked about that, just the ability of this team to finish strong and to come out and overcome that deficit.
Yeah, and we never, ever lost confidence on that sideline. And, our kids just kept battling. And I wasn't even thinking that we're going to lose this game. We're going to find a way to win it. And the kids believe that, our staff believe that, and I believe that. And, but it's really good for our confidence to know that we could score that fast. And they did some things to help us. I mean, they had some penalties that were big, and, we took advantage of it. So, but again, just really proud of our guys for hanging in there. And, you know, I said at the beginning, our offense I was really proud of. First quarter, fourth quarter. There were a couple, you know, series in between where we should have been able to generate points, and we didn't. And, again, a lot of that was our own fault. So we'll continue to keep working, keep getting better. And, again, I said every week, I love coaching these guys because every day they come to work and they want to be good. So I'm proud of them for that, sticking together. And, again, it wasn't easy. The locker room wasn't very big, you know, so there was just a lot of things that, you know, you deal with, and I didn't know how we were going to react. You know, everything's a first. That was our first rain delay, lightning delay. So, you know, how we gonna come out of this and play? And then when they walk us down to the tunnel, we're ready to take the field and go back in for 30 more minutes. So there was just a lot of things that we overcame, and, you know, to be able to do that on the road, just really, really proud of this group.
And you get that win. You get only the second win in Murfreesboro over Middle Tennessee, and you got to feel good about it. But did you feel good about it anytime in the fourth quarter? That was probably one of the better questions I was asked today as far as, hey, when did you actually feel like the game was over? Was there a time? And he actually, believe it or not, there was a moment in the game where Coach Gibson kind of felt like, yeah, okay, maybe it's over now.
Yeah, well, when I felt really good is when we were up 14, we got the first down in about under 2 minutes, and we were able to take a knee. That's when I felt good. So as a coach, you know, you're not even but I knew you could see them getting tired. We made some stops, got momentum. Our backs were running hard. Our O-line was coming off the football. And, you know, I felt good. But, again, you're never confident until you could take that victory as the best play we could ever call, victory formation. And, you know, once we were able to do that, then I was able to take a deep breath and enjoy the last minute and 20 seconds, whatever it was.
Marshall gets the win. We're now moving on to Louisiana. We'll get your text in, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. That's our number, brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop to be a part of today's show. More coming up on this edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
What is that thing? Oh, the two big red eyes and the wings.
Oh yeah, funky babies. Word is that the Mothman has been spotted getting his groove on at the Ritter Park Amphitheater. And did you know Funkafest has expanded to 2 days this year? That's right, Funkafest 9, The Funk Awakens, is October 3rd and 4th in Huntington, West by God, Virginia. 2 jam-packed interdimensional days of soul-shaking live music from Sneezy, Jocelyn and the Sweet Compression, the MFB, Jeremy Short, Joey H, Massing, Chocolate Four-Wheeler, DJ Charlie Black, and more. Plus, visual art, live painting, fire and flow performers, craft beer, food trucks, funky yoga, disc golf, the Kids Corner, and that late-night silent disco on Saturday. Big love to our funky friends, The Loud, Bad Shepherd Beer Company, Bonhoff, Basque Smokehouse, Luna Pizza, Marshall University Sustainability Department, The Good Time Show, Vandalia Digital, Kindred Communications and Kindred Digital, and Graphic Solutions. Kids 12 and under get in free. Tickets at funkafest.com.
Metro Community Federal Credit Union now brings you all the tech that big banks have, but still has that personal touch of a member-owned community credit union. Apple Pay? Got it. Digital wallet? Yep. Message pay by text, online loan payments, even chatting with a real person, not a bot. Open accounts, sign documents, and manage your money all online. It's the big bank tech you need from the local community-minded credit union you trust. Metro Community FCU. Visit metrocommunityfcu.com today.
What if someone could tell you what pest control issues you are most likely to have at your house in the next couple of months? Basically, someone that has like a bug or rodent psychic. Wouldn't you want that same person to handle your pest control services now? That's what Patrick, Becca, and the whole team at K&B Pest Control can do. They can predict the future. And better yet, prevent it from happening at your house. Call them now, 304-523-4281. K&B Pest Control, they'll kill for your business.
Hey Tri-State, Frank's Place is where friends hang out with friends. Stop on by for happy hour from 4 to 6 p.m. and a lot of daily specials. It's that time of year for March basketball. Frank's has you covered from the Sun Belt to the SEC, NBA to the MLB. First responders, stop by Frank's Place and check out the specials they have for you. Frank's Place, located at the River Place Plaza, next to Fratelli's. Check them out on Facebook for weekly updates and specials. Frank's Place, your home away from home.
Camel Midland football season is here. Tune in this season on your new home for the Knights, 927 and 985 The Planet. The Knights are back home this Friday hosting the Hurricane Redskins. Camel Midland Knights football on 927 and 985 The Planet is presented by Marshall Orthopedics. Get ready for hard-fought battles and unforgettable plays that keep the excitement going through the final whistle. Listen to the Knights all season on 927 and 985 The Planet. Camel Midland football from Kindred Communications.
I'm Naheem Hines, professional football player and proud supporter of the Muscular Dystrophy Association. My mom was diagnosed with muscular dystrophy when I was 14, and I watched her struggle. But MDA helped her get the best treatments and care, and they also help kids like my buddy Ethan.
My name is Ethan. Thanks to the Muscular Dystrophy Association and people like you, I have more hope than ever before. From day one, they've treated me like family at my local care center. MDA is the only one that funds over 150 care centers across the U.S. to help provide state-of-the-art care for adults and kids like me.
MDA has been transforming the lives of people living with muscular dystrophy, ALS, and other related neuromuscular diseases. They fund the research for breakthrough treatments, care, and cures. And MDA provides support to thousands of families like mine and Ethan's in communities like yours. Thanks to MDA, kids and adults can live life to its fullest. Join us and learn more at mda.org today.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover keytar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
You're listening to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
We continue on with this Tuesday edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Our text line this hour brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop at 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Don't forget, coming up tonight, it is Inside Marshall Football with Coach Tony Gibson. That is coming up tonight, 7:05, right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930, also on 93.7 The Dog. So, one of the things that we talked about yesterday, and we're going to hear more about it this week, but I wanted to touch on it today, was yesterday we got the announcement that the City of Huntington, along with Marshall, will host the West Virginia High School Baseball Tournament for the next 3 years. It's going to be at Jack Cook Field. That came out yesterday. Next year's tournament dates are June 6th through the 13th, and the baseball tournament has actually been held in Charleston since 1980. And so here it is. You're seeing a lot more movement. We're seeing football tournament out of Wheeling championships back into Charleston, and that's a good move. I think that's smart. That football field probably is the max for the championship. And to be fair, I think Charleston's a centrally located destination. Now, of course, that argument, you could probably throw that out when we come to baseball because we're expanding. So there are going to be more teams in the baseball tournament, and they're going to be a lot of the better teams are probably from this half of the state anyway, just to be fair about this. But at the end of the day, this is a huge deal because Marshall gets to showcase itself. Huntington gets to showcase itself for a meaningful tournament. It's going to be played at Jack Cook Field, and you're going to have the opportunity to see a lot of high school baseball over those days next year when the tournament does come to Huntington. I mean, the great thing about that is, and what makes sense about it, and hopefully as that area develops a little bit more and maybe more will go in, is the one thing you can say about that immediate area is there are a lot of places to eat right near the ballpark, the football stadium, the basketball arena. If you want to get something quick to eat, there's a fast food option for you. You want to get something a little bit more involved, there are a couple of really good options there. Of course, I'm going to be at Giovanni's on Saturday. I'm just, I could walk over to Jack Cook Field. I could get a pizza at Giovanni's and walk over to Jack Cook Field, have my pizza there. I don't think they're going to let you in the door tournament time, but you get my point. Yeah, you could go watch the game. You could go out to eat. It was sort of like what the thinking was with Pullman Square to support the arena. And I've made this argument before. What if you had something like Pullman Square when Huntington had professional hockey? Man, that would have been great. You'd have had a lot more going on downtown. But the baseball tournament coming to Huntington, there had to be a lot of work put into it. So coming up tomorrow on the program, the next couple of days, we've got Andrew Brown. He's going to tell us all about the Marshall side of this. And so looking forward to talking to him. And then Wayne Ryan, the executive director of the SSAC, he's going to join me on Thursday, and we'll get his thoughts on the bid, why it made sense for Huntington to land this tournament, and what it means for the tournament expanding, playing at Jack Cook Field. It's something that we didn't think that would happen for the longest time, and now we see that. And I'd love to see Marshall be able to bid on more. Baseball probably is the home run. Of course, Huntington has the wrestling tournament, and if that can stay, that's even better. That generates a lot of traffic. You probably have been downtown when the tournament's on, and try to go get a seat somewhere. There are a lot of people downtown Huntington. That's what you want. So that's going to be, I think, a boon for the next few years for Marshall baseball and, of course, for the city of Huntington. And hopefully you see a little bit more development pop up around the ballpark. I know they're starting to work on the Foundry, and I'm hoping that is looking really good and built up by the end of this, just so Jack Cook has a nice backdrop. That's you've got the view now, but if you start seeing the development go in, it's going to be a lot more of a. I'm excited. Let's just say it is. Right now you see the dirt. That's the backdrop, the dirt. But here you are. You got a situation where things are going to start improving in that area. You've got a ballpark where you can have, some picnic areas. You have people that are sitting, and bring your own chairs. You can sit out in the outfield areas. You can, of course, sit they've got picnic areas. It's going to be cool. I'm looking forward to it. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Let's get back into our text line when we continue. It's brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Transform your outdoors all year long with Roberts Lawn Care and Landscaping. Family owned and operated, serving the tri-state area with expert landscaping services. From vibrant spring gardens to cozy fall patios and everything in between. Roberts specializes in sustainable landscaping that thrives through every season, residential or commercial. Roberts creates personalized solutions to bring your vision to life. Call Roberts today at 304-633-5822 because your dream yard deserves 4 seasons of care.
This fall, let the Car Ferry bring a little magic to your driveway at Mark Porter Auto Group. With locations in Pomeroy, Jackson, Ohio, and Ashland, Kentucky, want to shop 24 hours a day? Cozy up with a cup of cider and browse our full inventory anytime at markporterautogroup.com. Fall into a safe, reliable vehicle and let the Car Ferry guide you to Mark Porter Auto Group in Pomeroy, Jackson, and Ashland. Or shop 24/7 at markporterautogroup.com.
Hi, I'm Elise Smith, First Lady of Marshall University and founder of the Women Warrior Summit. As a woman of Appalachia, you know how much strength it takes to shift direction, especially when you're carving a new path forward. Maybe you've been thinking about changing careers, going back to school, or even refocusing your energy on something you once loved. I am so proud to announce that the Women Warrior Summit is back for its third year, where we'll be focusing on the power of pivoting and how to approach life's turning points with clarity, courage, and intention. We'll hear from journalist, author, and entertainer Hoda Kotb, explore Jenny Blake's coveted pivot method, and even talk about how AI can support our next steps, whatever they may be. Join us Friday, October 24th at the Marshall Health Network Arena. Visit womenwarriorsummit.com to learn more. I hope to see you there.
Hi, I'm Nori, and over the years, my mother and I have opened our homes to those who need it most, and it's been so rewarding. I bet you didn't know that some adults who have unfortunately been mistreated need a place to call home in West Virginia. It happens more than you know. They may have some physical or mental limitations, and they need your help. Everyone deserves a place to call their own. I can tell you from my experience, it's worth it.
If you have an open heart and want to open your home, adult family care may be the right fit for you. Call the Department of Human Services and ask to speak to an adult family care home finder at 304-269-6820. Sponsored by the West Virginia Department of Human Services, the West Virginia Broadcasters Association, and this station. This project is supported by the Administration for Community Living, ACL, of the United States, U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, HHS, as part of a financial assistance award totaling $1,227,345, with 100% funded by ACL HHS. The contents are those of the authors and do not necessarily represent the official views of nor an endorsement by ACL HHS or the U.S. government.
This is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Follow at Paul Swann on X for Marshall sports updates and more.
We continue on with today's edition of The Drive. This is ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. Our text line is open 304-396-TALK, brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop. Texter writes in and says, Paul, Saturday is such an important game to win. Middle Tennessee State University was a good win, but now, Sun Belt Conference play. Don't want to go into the bye week off a loss when you have Old Dominion around the corner. Louisiana has been struggling, but it's the championship rematch. I despise the 8 p.m. kickoff. I can see this game going into overtime. Herb pulls it off, and Del Rio Wilson continues to thrive. Appreciate the text. And now let's not see this game go into overtime. Do not speak that into existence. I don't want let's just have Marshall go down and handle business and come home. Can we speak that into existence? Can we have a minus the rain delay, the lightning delay? Can we have just a rematch where Marshall goes down, throttles Louisiana, gets a great win, everybody goes home happy except Louisiana fans? That's what I'm looking for here. No overtime, no close. I don't want that. I feel good about where Marshall's at right now. I'm not saying this team is going to run the table and win the Sun Belt just yet, but I feel good about where this team is at this moment. I'd like to have Missouri State back. Absolutely wish that Marshall can get that one back, but you got to lose sometimes to learn. And it's non-conference. You can lose that game. But to the texture's point, you don't want to have to wait a week to get the taste of a loss out of your system or your mouth. You just don't. Big, important game. Absolutely. Get the win, and then you have the week to get ready for the next opponent. Do a little rehab, recovery, work on yourself, then you game plan, it's an important time in the schedule. You don't have to wait several more weeks before you get a bye. We've seen schedules like that in the past where it just was murderer's row for the Thundering Herd. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Is this an important game? Game 1 of the conference schedule. You have to have this. Is this one that you can't lose? You don't want to lose. Obviously, you shouldn't lose, right? Is this one of those games where, okay, if Marshall loses this, then momentum all of a sudden shifts? I don't think so. I think this is going to be, even though it's a conference game, it's conference opener, I don't think that this is going to be one of those where all of the pressure is on. Honestly, I think the fact that Marshall has a target on its back because Louisiana lost to Marshall in the championship, I think that's going to help in the long run for the Thundering Herd, only because Marshall knows it's a target. Most of these players were not involved in that game last year, but Marshall knows it's a target. What's the line right now? I'm looking at it here. ESPN Bet has the line. It opened again at 2.5, but right now it's still at 1.5. So 1.5's the line. Coach Gibson had some good things to say about Louisiana. Definitely doesn't think that this is a team that is 1-3. And I know it hasn't changed. ESPN's matchup predictor kind of gives the Herd a slight edge in this. It's going to be 80 degrees in Lafayette, Louisiana on Saturday. That's fine. That's absolutely fine. I think the Herd's got this game. Maybe I'm a little overconfident. I don't know. I can be that way. But I'd hate to think that we've seen all this progress and then go down and just not get it done against Louisiana. So, yeah, this is an important game. I agree with that completely. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. And, hey, keep this in mind. Carlos Del Rio Wilson, he's got it put together now. Can he turn in a similar performance? After all, he's the Sun Belt Conference Offensive Player of the Week. He put it together, 261 yards, 4 touchdowns, and he ran one in as well, 5 touchdowns. And he's starting to feel that confidence. I go back to the thought, what would have been if he was starting out this season? If he was starting out the season and we could have seen more of him earlier, could this team be 3-1 possibly? I mean, I'm looking back. It's hindsight, I know, but still, I feel good. Marshall doesn't have a quarterback issue now. We have pretty much a quarterback set, ready to go. So now you got to work on things like, as Coach talked about, tackling. Got to clean that up. And I think they will. 304-396-TALK. Texter says, Paul, I think the Thundering Herd wins by 3 touchdowns. All right, appreciate the text. Okay, that's optimistic. 3 touchdowns? I don't know. I still give them a little credit because you got to remember, Marshall goes down and wins that championship game, beats them. And I know the two teams are different, but I'm still thinking, hey, they're not sitting there just looking at this as another game. It's sort of like, okay, it might not be the same team, but you're the defending champion, so we want a piece of you. We want a piece of you to get some of that back. And they were highly regarded coming in. So if I'm Marshall right now, I know, and I'm not using the term trap game, but I know this is going to be not an easy game. This is going to be a little bit more of a dogfight going into this on Saturday. This is going to be probably, other than Georgia, probably the most physical game this season to date. I believe that this is going to be a challenge for the Herd. But if Marshall can get the win, then it's got a couple of weeks before it goes into the rest of the conference slate. And I feel good about that. I'd rather be sitting at home 1-0 with the off week, watching everyone else beat each other up as I rest a little bit and get ready for the long push. That's my idea of a good off week. Texture says, Paul, it's going to be a field goal to win it. What? All right, appreciate the text. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm okay with getting the special teams guys involved, but let's not do field goal to win it. I know we're probably a little earlier as far as our pick the score. We definitely are early, but I'm not here for a field goal to win it. Now, if that's what it takes, I'll take it, but I'm not going to entertain field goal to win it. Let's not put it in the hands of the field goal team. Let's not do that. Let's just go out and see the Herd win the game. 304-396-TALK. Texture says, Paul, would you call this as a, quote, lynch pinch game? In, quote, no. Linchpin game? No. It's important, though. You look at the conference standings, and you want to get a start on the schedule with a win. So, yes, it is important, but at the same time, I wouldn't call it a linchpin game because you still got tough ones ahead. Because you got Old Dominion, and you got Texas State, and then you're on the road at Coastal. Then you got James Madison, and you got Georgia State on the road, and you got App State on the road, and then you got Georgia Southern home. And if you look at this, right now, outside of Georgia State, and even then, I'm sounding a little disrespectful. Outside of Georgia State, I think this is going to be tight for every game. Old Dominion, Texas State, Coastal, James Madison, App State, Georgia Southern. Georgia Southern's here, thankfully. App State is on the road. That's going to be tough. At Coastal, Old Dominion home, so I feel good about that. I feel good about Texas State. I mean, I can look ahead. Coach Gibson cannot. He's focused on one thing and one thing only, and that is Louisiana. But at the end of the day, I think this team has seen a wide spectrum of looks of different teams, different type of adversity. And so I do feel good going into this, especially with that win over MTSU. The way that Marshall handled it in the fourth quarter especially, that made me feel real confident in this team's ability to go into Louisiana and possibly win. But at the same time, Louisiana's been in most of its situations. Let's be fair. Other than one game, and that's Missouri. And you can look at its game against Missouri and Marshall's game against Georgia, and you go, okay, that was going to happen anyway. This is going to be, I think, a challenging contest for Marshall. And that's going to do it for this edition. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. Back with you tomorrow here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Don't forget, coming up tonight, it's going to be the Coach Gibson Show. That's 7 o'clock right here following Statewide Sports Line, which comes up next for those you listening on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Broadcasting from the Dave & Buster's studios. Eat, drink, play, and watch at Dave & Buster's in the Huntington Mall. ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. WRBC, W231BS Huntington.